Have you ever been strolling through Netflix and didn't know what to watch, looking through the movies, looking through the different comedies, and we're like, what do I watch? And so this is what this video is about. I'm going to give you my suggestion. Here, take a look. My Netflix suggestion is a Futile and Stupid Gesture. It basically is this movie is a biopic pick about Doug Kenney. Doug Kenney, if you didn't know it, is pretty much the founder of National Lampoon. He started 1/3 of National Lampoon. This movie, I would actually say, is great to go and not know anything about it. But I'm going to kind of give you some background and kind of give you why you should kind of pay attention to this movie. And so, going into it, this movie centers around the relationship between Doug Kenney and also Henry Beard. They basically started National Lampoon in Harvard, and they kind of decided, let's go make this magazine that they took from Harvard, and basically tried to sell it to a lot of different people. And they finally found kind of this guy named Matty Simmons, and basically started this magazine. And it's basically how they took this this college magazine and made it into basically this national phenomenon in a sense. Because like if we watch this movie, we'll find out there's radio plays, there's a lot of different things, and then eventually it goes into movies. And so it's cool. And what's cool about this movie is it shows just talking about creativity, like how do you take a vision and make it into something really big. And then also talking about being depressed, or kind of what are the flaws of being creative and stuff like that. And I think it does a really good job at talking about that, talking about the struggles of that, and and also the struggles, like, do you do it for money and do you not do it for money. It's really interesting for this movie to really talk about these really interesting deep issues. I think it stars some really good characters. It stars the guy who does Doug Kenney is a guy named Will Forte, and I think he does a pretty solid job, although some people in the internet kind of would say he's not really the best cast for it. They would say his co-star for Henry Beard, Domhnall Gleeson, is really good, and I think he's one of the best characters I've seen during the entire time. In terms of other characters, Thomas Lennon is in there. He's pretty solid. You would know him from Reno 911, and then there's some other ones in there as well. I think Matt Lucas, he was previously on Doctor Who, and some really other good characters. So some really nice cast to help support these two guys. And so this movie is good. It really is awesome because you get to learn kind of about pop culture. And I think why this movie really matters in some sense is because of National Lampoon. Without National Lampoon, we wouldn't have some of the comedy in the 80s that we had. From this movie comes Animal House and Caddyshack and some of those really classic movies that we really know the 80s to be about. If National Lampoon wasn't there, we wouldn't have those movies. And so I think that's really interesting to take home and really good to know about, that these movies were created from that type of comedy, and kind of know where some of those actors come from. I think what's interesting is there's also some interesting side stories, like Matty Simmons is really the founder of one of the early founders of credit cards and stuff like that. And then some of the people the writers for National Lampoon go into making Saturday Night Live and make that really big. And then even some of the actors, for instance, Chevy Chase or Bill Murray, those come from the radio plays of National Lampoon. I think that's really interesting, and I think that really is a really interesting. So what? Why does this movie really matter? Is it kind of talks about giving homage to that history. And I think what's also really interesting is they really play with the fourth wall. What I really value about this movie is they use a really interesting narrator this older narrator to kind of talk about this movie. There's some really interesting turns around the way, especially at the ending and other places. And I think it's worth a watch. I think you definitely want to, stay tuned and watch that movie. And I think I think it's 2 hours. That's my pick. I hope you guys really like it. Tell me what you think down below. Do you think it was good or not? I thought it was one of the better Netflix movies that I've seen recently, and it's a good movie for 2018. Hope you have a good day. All right, bye.